What's up, Nerf Herders? Hope you're all doing well out there and having a great day. So we just got done with Godzilla versus Kong. Been waiting a long time for this because it obviously got delayed from last year. I went to the theater. Mr. Johnny Beautiful saw it at home on HBO Max, and we have not talked about this, so we're going to go into this blind, sharing each other's thoughts on this. We'll do a non-spoiler and then jump into some spoilers with this here. But before we get into everything, make sure you hit the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications, keep up with the latest here. We're going to dive in on the non-spoiler side here. So basically, what we get with this movie, you want to see Godzilla versus Kong. You get Godzilla versus Kong, and a lot of, in my opinion, dumb human shit that just kind of wraps the whole thing up with a bow. And that's the movie. That's really the movie.
Yeah. I'll say this, dude, that I was surprised. It took me in directions that I didn't think the movie was going to go. And I thought it was better than Godzilla King of Monsters. So,
See, and I'm the opposite on that. I like Godzilla King of Monsters more because there was more monster action in that.
there was.
Because I feel like
There
these are
was.
almost the same movie, dude. Like Godzilla from the first one that we got, you had some interesting human elements with Bryan Cranston that was kind of like carrying you through, and then they totally dicked us out of that with him. And then these
Sure.
last two almost turned into like full-blown Transformers movies. And then this one just, this one cheaped out a little bit more on the action, I felt. Even though when they were on screen together, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it was grand scale, awesome stuff. And there's something I want to talk about that in the spoiler section here too. But there's so much more dumb human shit going on in this one that it was just boring.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that they were going for, something a little bit more, trying to draw you from just a big action movie to try to build some story with it. Some of it was really cool. I really liked how they took a lot of influence from Journey to the Center of the Earth, the
Right.
story of the Hollow Earth and all that stuff. So that was really neat, but I am with you. When we get into the spoiler discussion, I had a lot of gripes with the story, with the human stuff. But I don't know. This one kept my attention a little bit more than King of Monsters in that I kind of just got like overwhelmed with that one with just, there's so much fighting
Yeah.
and so much action. And by the end of it, I was like, this must have just been a fucking Michael Bay movie, like it,
Right.
I don't know. It just got a little too much for me. This one I felt was a little bit more even with like, okay, they're trying to tell a story, but they're also giving us some solid action. And I really, really did like what they did with Kong because I'm a big Kong fan. I'm always been a big King Kong fan. So I think they did his character right with this, and they gave him some really fucking awesome spots.
Yeah, I agree, man. The Kong stuff, I loved how they showed intelligence, which obviously that was probably the most compelling thing you can do with that character because we know Kong from the old movies and everything. There's a connection always with him and some human character, so I'm glad that they kind of roped that in. It wasn't just some giant ape running around. I like that had more of that human element connection there, and that was the most interesting thing to me was the
Right.
relationship with him and the little girl was the most interesting human element by a landslide. That little girl crushed it in here, dude. Like she was the best part of the human side.
I think that's what kept my attention a little bit more because I thought it was a very intriguing story to have this big ape have this relationship with such a little girl, and they talk about how her family was wiped out, on Skull Island. So she developed this relationship with Kong and he's kind of her protector.
Right.
She's the only one who can communicate with him and convince him because he trusts her. So everything the humans are trying to do, he doesn't trust, but he trusts what she says, which I thought was awesome. And we didn't get really anything like that in the last Godzilla movie. All the human shit was really stupid. We got some really awesome fight sequences, but there wasn't much connection between the monsters and the humans. And I thought this did a little bit of a better job telling that story.
Yep, I agree. I was definitely invested in what was going on there. Godzilla, on the other hand, that was a little bit different. I felt like this was the most disconnected we've been from Godzilla. Like, this was really Kong's movie, and Godzilla
Yeah.
was almost the afterthought in it. And that bugged me a little bit as the movie kind of went on because I just they played Godzilla as such this villainous thing throughout the whole movie, even though there was purpose to it, which we'll get into. But they play it off classic villain Godzilla, which I was okay with, but there was no connection. He just shows up for a second and disappears, and then shows up
Yeah.
for a second, disappears. And then when you get to your third act, I mean, it's the whole third act is absolutely glorious, but I could have done for like maybe 10 or 15 more minutes tied into that third act. And I think that would have drove this home a little bit more for me in the long run. You could watch 30 minutes of this movie and that's it. You don't have to go watch the full 2-hour movie like ever. You can go rewatch 30 minutes and be good to go.
Yeah, and I think, I think one of the things the film lacked was a beginning and an end. The beginning, it basically just says, okay, it's been 3 years since we had a Godzilla sighting. Now he's just coming and wreaking havoc. And they don't really explain. I mean, they explain why, but they don't really explain why he hasn't before this, because you would think, based on the reason why he is attacking, he probably should have known some of this shit was going on years ago. I mean, the shit that they built doesn't just happen overnight,
Right.
But it's like, okay, all of a sudden he's coming in and he's fucking shit up. The ending was like, okay, we gave Kong this fucking awesome ending and this awesome send off, but then Godzilla is just like, all right, bye bye.
Yeah, he's just like deuces, I'm going back into my ocean.
Yeah, it just ends. It just ends. Godzilla just turns around, gets in the ocean, and swims away. And there's nothing that says where he's going or what he's doing. But then we get this awesome like little ending with Kong and stuff. And so that's why
it felt like Kong's movie, dude. Like this was Kong's movie, and I think the reason that they chose to do it that way, because we talked about this, Godzilla is so much more marketable. There's a much larger, villain catalog. There's not really a villain catalog for Kong outside of a T-Rex, dude. I mean, that's really the most notable thing that we get with Kong.
There's not much else you can tell. I mean, Kong Skull Island, I know you weren't a big fan. I liked it more the second time. It's grown on me over time, but the character Kong, I think, is not as, you just can't keep using him. You know what I mean? We've gotten his story. We got Kong Skull Island. We got now his origin technically from this film. So there's not much else you can do with it, and with Godzilla, I mean, you have a huge book of monsters that you can bring into this. We've only gotten a couple of his villains, but there's so much more you can explore.
Yeah, it's exactly, dude. And I wanted to touch on one more thing, and then we can jump into the spoilers here. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the universe that they've created, because right now you can kind of look at this movie as a whole as just Godzilla versus Kong. But there's 3 movies that predate this that have built this universe going into this here, and there's things that just can't be ignored right now. And one of which is at the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, Tywin Lannister is still showing his weight as the big baddie when they come across Ghidorah's head. He's nowhere to be found, so he's just X'd out of the story entirely. No mention of him, so who knows what the hell happened with that there. And then the other thing, too, is Kyle Chandler just disappears. Like, I almost feel like he signed a 2-contract film deal to do 2 Godzilla movies, and he was like, I don't want to be a part of this shit anymore. And they're like, well, you're on contract, so we're bringing you in. And they literally did like 3 quick scenes with him. He's in the beginning of the movie, a quick little like message to get him to a certain location, and then he shows up at the end for a minute. And it's just so weird, dude. They basically gave Alexander Skarsgard the Kyle Chandler role. Here's the guy that knows everything about everything, has an answer for everything, and just gets it from point A to point B and just kind of carries you through. So
for sure.
There are those tropes in there for sure, which just, to me, just got a little bit irritating as it all went along, because there was so many conveniences just to push the story. And I felt like if you would have relied more on Kong and Godzilla to do that, that would have felt a little bit better for me.
Yeah, I'll agree 100% with that. I think my biggest gripe with this movie is that there's way too much coincidence. There's not enough explaining how things happen, or why things are happening the way they are, or why people are able to do things that they're able to do.
Right.
We'll get into more with the spoilers, but it's very much just like, oh, hey, now that guy can do this. Okay, well, that's interesting. Or like, how can you take down this entire computer system with such a simple answer?
Yep.
Like, I don't know, it just seemed like way too, I don't know, they wanted to just kind of shoehorn in these solutions to these problems because they didn't really have a story fleshed out. It was more of like, okay, well, we're going to hope that people just ignore these little things and focus more on the big picture, which, I mean, I thought it was an entertaining film. I liked it a lot as far as compared to other ones, but it's kind of the same old with this franchise. If that makes sense.
No, totally, dude. And it almost honestly, dude, what it almost kind of felt like was multiple portions of scripts that just kind of got thrown together. And it's like, all right, we got to get from point A to point B. We kind of wrote ourselves into a wall. And then what do we do to get out of that? All right, boom, random convenience. Okay, now we got out of that. And we just keep going. And I guess let's just jump right into the spoilers, because I'll piggyback real quick into the spoilers here. The one big thing that was just so out of left field for me is we get introduced to Alexander Skarsgard's character, and within a minute, he's all of a sudden convinced to go continue this mission that killed his brother. Then he has to go convince somebody else, Rebecca Hall, to join this mission, which involves getting Kong out of this protective dome. And it's literally like, hey, we should do this. Yeah, sure. I'm like, whoa, are you serious? I'm like,
yeah, dude.
It was that easy to get Kong out of here, for real?
So we get introduced to Alexander Skarsgard's character, and I like him. I love him. He's one of my favorite modern day actors. I've loved him ever since True Blood. Dude, yeah, I would just smash that dude. But he's awesome. But like, his character just was like, I don't know. He just knew how to do everything, you know? Like,
yeah,
you get introduced to him. He's lost his brother. He's kind of a madman. His book is not selling, and people think he's a fucking lunatic because he believes in Hollow Earth theory.
Right.
So then, he gets brought in by this rich billionaire guy who's basically there to try to figure out a way to protect civilization from Godzilla. And, it's so convenient that, I don't know, over the last century of technology, no one's ever been able to detect the hollow Earth. But then all of a sudden, this billionaire does one satellite scan, and now we have every fucking pathway to the center of the Earth on a map, and no one else in the world knows it but this guy.
And not only has the map, dude, but has developed the tech to travel into the center of this. Like, it's just right there, ready to go.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, well, how long has he been developing this? This can't have been just a peak discovery just 5 minutes ago. You've had to have known about this for decades to be able to build the technology you've been building. And I think that's just one of the biggest things that griped me about this, was just everything was just so quickly explained and done. And it made you feel like all these things were happening like in real time, where it's like, there's no fucking way, dude. You know? So that was one thing that kind of ticked me off. And then, like you said, he goes to talk to this chick, and he's just like, she's this scientist who's been studying Kong for years, raising her adopted daughter, on Skull Island and everything. And then she's just like, yeah, sure, let's take him across the world to Antarctica and see if he goes down this fucking hole,
Yeah, and not just take him out, dude, but with the knowledge, and they say it before they even bring him, like, if we move Kong out of here, Godzilla's going to come for him. So let's not talk about Ariel flying him right off the bat, which is what they result to anyways. Let's put him on a ship in the water where that's Godzilla's comfort zone.
And let's do it for a minute. Not to cut you off.
No, run, dude. Run with it.
Let's talk about how they didn't even show how they were able to get Kong subdued and doped up to take that ship ride.
Yeah,
we had a whole movie, Kong Skull Island. The whole freaking movie was about him just destroying the entire military that came after him. How the fuck did they get this dude to go down, fall asleep, dope him up, and then haul him onto a ship?
I'll tell you how. They used the helicopters to put them on the ship, and then they brought the helicopters back later.
It's like the damn eagles from Lord of the Rings. Like, why didn't you use these from the beginning of the freaking movie?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make much sense. And then he's hauled on this big freighter, and then you have a cool battle. I mean, I'll give it to him. That battle sequence on the ocean was kick ass. But then it's just like, okay, I mean, we talked about this earlier when we saw the trailer. How the fuck did those ships not capsize with the weight of Kong and Godzilla on them at the same time?
Dude,
that was just a little like, okay. And then Kong's hopping from ship to ship, dude, that are like, we're talking like a football field or two away, and he's just with ease hopping along like he's playing Frogger,
Yeah, dude.
So that was just, I don't know. There's the little things like that I was like, come on, guys. Like, you're doing so well with the visuals. Like, this movie, the visuals were just stunning, gorgeous, amazing.
Yeah. Oh,
you couldn't have gotten the physics right. Like, you couldn't have given me a little bit more physical, like, stuff that's realistic, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree, dude, because I thought that sequence was cool. And the issue I had with that sequence is that sequence there. Oh, man, it's almost like the two fight scenes that we had almost played polar opposites to me, where the scene in the water, they were moving a little bit slower, where it gave the scale of these big monsters. But I feel like having them on top of this vessel dwarfed their size. Like, we're talking monsters, dude, that are standing over skyscrapers, but like they're both fitting on this. So it dwarfed their size, but they were moving in more of that big motion. But then when you get to the battle at the end, now you're getting this big scope, but they're moving so fucking fast, dude. Like they're just crowning, you know. And I did not like how Kong was chained up, dude. I didn't like that. I wish he would have ripped the chains off himself when, you know, the ship kind of flipped. Instead of having to be rescued, there was too much going on with like having to save Kong's ass in this that I wished he didn't need all the additional assist. I could have done without some of that.
Yeah, that was kind of silly, and it's like he ends up breaking his chains anyway. At least the collar, you know, like they let him go on his arms, but then he rips the collar off, and it's like, why didn't he just do that from the start? You know?
Yes,
like,
dude. Exactly.
That was kind of silly, you know. And then, like you said, you know, they had to save his ass a lot. You know, the battleships are shooting off their, you know, various torpedoes and you know, missiles to divert Godzilla. And then even at the end of the water sequence, you know, Godzilla is essentially drowning Kong, and they had to shoot the, you know, whatever those charges are, you know, the submarine charges to basically disorientate Godzilla so he releases Kong to fucking come back up to the surface and not die. You know, it was just, I don't know, that was kind of like whatever. And then Godzilla just kind of like goes away and lets them be on their merry way. And then all of a sudden they're able to get these big ass choppers to carry Godzilla. Now they're in the middle of the ocean. They're on their way to Antarctica. Like, where the fuck did these choppers come from? You had to come from some landmass, probably. Like, you're talking hours, maybe a day or two for these choppers to get to you. But all of a sudden, the next scene, boom, they're carrying Kong. And there's like 15 or 20 of these things all flying like in perfect coordination with each other with the cords, you know?
Yeah.
That to me was also a little silly because, like, what if Kong just, like, I don't know, shifts his weight from one side to the other and then drags these choppers into each other and like everyone dies, you know?
Right, dude.
Like, it's just little things like that that kind of felt like, okay, I don't know if this is realistic. I don't think you can really make 20 choppers like coordinated enough to carry a big fucking gorilla. I don't know if that's true. But maybe I'm wrong. So it was like, I'll keep going, you know, as
somebody make a breakdown video about the choppers and the weight of Kong. I want to see someone like really dissect that and tell us how probable it is.
I would love like a physics class about this fucking movie because they got the size right. They got a lot of that stuff right. But then, like you said, you know, in the water, they're moving slow. So it did kind of give you that idea that they're big. But then when they just destroy, you know, Tokyo, it's fucking like they're in fast motion, you know, Transformers mode, you know?
Yeah, they were moving fast, dude. I was just like, whoa, everybody's moving. Like there was no size at all. I mean, you saw they were big in comparison to the buildings, but the way they were moving was very, I mean, just this, like, you know?
And
like,
I mean, dude, rest in peace, Tokyo, man.
Hong Kong, dude.
Or Hong Kong.
Yeah.
They destroyed so many fucking buildings, dude. Like, more than
the whole
expected.
City. How many people died, dude? Like we're talking like millions of people got killed in this movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was insane, dude. What are your thoughts on the human characters? Because I really liked Bernie.
He was the best human character by far.
He kept me engaged with it, but like, I don't know, dude. Like, it's kind of like you said, the stupid human shit that's going on. You have this daughter of the monarch guy. And it's like she just is like able to do whatever the fuck she wants, and no one like cares.
Well, and ironically, you know, that little trio find themselves in the heat of the battle everywhere. They accidentally stumble into the transport and get shot over to Hong Kong, and it's just you know, it's just everything was just overly convenient, and I can buy into some of that. I just give me compelling characters and a compelling story to follow them. Right. Like, if you're not going to give me something that I care about, then don't show it to me. Give me another 30 minutes of monster action and, like, throw everything else to the wayside in that case. Yep. You know, don't waste your budget on these people traveling in these, like, ultrasonic things where they're just, like, cruising underwater and under the ground and all that. Like, I could care less about all that shit because, dude, the Bernie character was the only one that I thought was interesting. And even some of the stuff with him was a little bit too much, man. Like, everything was getting undercut with jokes, and it's just like, dude, yes, that's okay in some situations, but, like, again, in the context of the movie with everything, you are in, like, the most high-tech, secret-type lab, and these people are pulling guns on you, and, like, we're going to undercut the scene with a joke. It's like, I think there's better ways to handle that. It kind of felt
a little bit like Finn in the new Star Wars sequels. Like
Right.
his jokes kind of came in at the wrong time. Like if I was really being held at gunpoint, would I really make a joke to anyone?
Right.
And part of the whole like disbelief thing that I have with some of the human parts is like, okay, Bernie and the two kids, how you just had Godzilla destroy this entire Apex facility that's like maximum security, technology up the wazoo, guards, guns, security, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And then after he destroys it, like these three nobodies can literally just walk into the facility and gain access to the secret elevator that goes into a lab, and no one knows.
Right.
That kind of felt a little bit like, okay, I can buy maybe Bernie getting past the security because he's got clearance and he's working there, but like you got two kids going with him, like that didn't feel very, I don't know, genuine or anything like that. And then it's just like, okay, you just conveniently go into this elevator that takes you into this facility that gives you this like super, railway system across the globe to Hong Kong, like that was just kind of like, oh, convenient that you're going to be putting yourself right where the end of this movie is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
What are the
so
odds
many...
you get into this situation? And then when they get into the center of the earth, kind of hollow earth part of it, that was kind of cool. The visuals were really neat. I thought that was really interesting.
It was like Inception, dude. It was like Inception for like Skull Island.
But like that part was even still a little bit not believable because once they get into the hollow earth and gravity basically adjusts itself, like Kong basically free falls.
Oh
like,
yeah, dude.
You probably like in reality, if this is real, he probably dies. I don't think he survives that fall.
Yep.
And so that was a little bit unbelievable. But then like you get to this center of the earth and you find out that, okay, this is like that ancient battleground, right? Where Kong and Godzilla's ancestors fought. But like who built this fucking cathedral, right? Like with these cathedral arches and this throne. Like, I don't know if I buy into a bunch of monsters or apes building that shit, I don't know. That just felt a little too high tech, a little too like advanced for that kind of primitive, group of animals, I guess.
Yeah, that was a little interesting, dude, because they kind of showed like, I guess would have been a baby Godzilla on there. I think that's what they were trying to go for with that,
right?
Just to drive home the fact that they had like these ancient rivalries with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the point of Hollow Earth anyways, dude? Because once you get to him charging up the axe, so the power source is there clearly,
right.
And then Godzilla just blasts a hole, dude, like all the way into the center of the earth.
He conveniently blasts a hole to the exact location that Kong is standing in, giving them a fucking clear shot back up to Hong Kong.
Dude, and again, another convenience. Those bat bird things are like about to kill Rebecca Hall and the daughter, and conveniently, right as that thing's about to kill him, that's when Godzilla's blast comes in and disrupts it. And it's just like there was too much of that kind of stuff going on, dude. I would have much rather had seen Kong like grab the thing and just shred it right there,
Totally.
And
there was some brutal
fall.
There was some brutal shit. I mean, when they first get to Hollow Earth and those things were like those like big pterodactyl things were flapping around, and he just rips them apart and then starts drinking their blood and guts. That was brutal. That was fucking awesome, dude. That was cool. But like you said, I mean, too many convenience parts, and to play off of that, how about when Kong basically goes back up to Kong and he takes his fucking axe with him to battle Godzilla, then the remaining people, which is Alexander Skarsgård, the female scientist, I forgot her name, and then the little girl, have to hop on one of these anti-gravity ships and go back. But who the fuck is piloting it? Alexander Skarsgård, who like, how does he know how to pilot this ship and navigate back up to the Earth's surface? To me was like, dude,
and how'd they get back so fast? That's the other thing, dude. Like when they went in, they were like, all right, we're gonna travel 1,000 miles in 2 seconds because like you had to shoot through kind of, well, I guess what would be this internal wormhole in a sense, and that's what kind of like propelled you to the center of the Earth, and then now we just literally just got a hole just from Godzilla's blast. Kong is just free falling his ass through, and then they just drive through. I'm just like, dude, this is just getting all over. I mean, that's one of those things. It's like we wrote ourselves into a hole. We got Godzilla in Hong Kong. We've got King Kong in the center of the Earth. Fuck, what do we do? Have Godzilla blast a hole, dude, and like we'll just go through that hole. Like,
dude, I I legit took my phone out at that part and I like Googled how far it is from the Earth's core to the Earth's surface. It's like fucking 3,000 miles, dude.
Yeah, dude.
It's just like it's three like United States basically put together. Like, how did you get there so fast? You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. So that was kind of silly. But dude, I want to talk about Mechagodzilla.
Yes, let's talk about
what
this
are your
battle.
thoughts on that? Because that was kind of like the payoff, you know? I mean, we're teased the whole movie about Mechagodzilla. At the beginning, we get the eyeball, you know, you see the eyeball in the Apex, you know, facility, and then you start kind of getting the hints that they're testing this technology with this big machine, but now we get the release.
Yeah, I wanted more, dude. Like, I thought
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla was cool. I thought the introduction of him busting through the mountain and just kind of like showing up, wrecking havoc, and just wiping the floor with Godzilla. I thought all of that stuff was awesome. I think the fact that they allowed him to become self-aware and it wasn't some evil dude operating it, I liked the idea that it just became self-aware and
Yeah.
its mission was to take out Godzilla. I thought that was neat. I loved how it would shoot the missiles and hit all the tech going on outside of just, you know, what would be, I guess, the nuclear blast that they gave for it. And then they had the tail. I just wished the fight was a little bit longer, dude.
Mhm.
I thought it was so good. I just wanted to see more of what that thing could do. And
Yep.
but I guess the right thing to say to is I didn't feel underwhelmed by Mechagodzilla. I just wanted more of it. After we had kind of had to go through all this human shit, I just wanted more of that ending because I was like, this is what we've been waiting for. It was great, but God, dude, 5 or 10 minutes more would have been like perfect, you know?
Right. I did like that the way that they basically made him self-aware was connecting him to the Ghidorah skull.
Yep, that was
And
awesome.
you know, like you're taking basically the memories of Ghidorah and like putting them into his system, and then he goes Skynet on everybody.
Dude,
That
so
was
cool.
cool. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I will agree with you. I was a little underwhelmed in that I wanted more. Um, but I did love his like features. So I loved how his animatronic arms kind of twisted around, and
Yeah.
he had the missiles, and then he actually had like the boosters on his back, kind of Iron Man style, where he can boost himself and then punch you. I loved his tail, and I loved the fucking part where they had the what were those creatures from Skull Island? The skull, the
Oh,
shadow creatures, whatever the fuck they're called.
yeah, I know what you're talking about, dude. But yeah,
And
yeah.
they're in the facility. They first introduced Mechagodzilla, and they release one of these things, and he basically just like shoots them with his like mouth laser and just tears it apart, dude.
Yeah.
That was really cool. That was a cool way to like introduce him as like, oh, this fucker can fight. He's got some like abilities that might be better than Godzilla and Kong.
Right.
But
Like
yeah, the last fight sequence could have been longer if they had taken less time on the battle with the sea and done more with the battle in Hong Kong. I think it would have felt better. You know,
yeah, I agree, dude. Because even the King Kong and Godzilla battle, I thought was done really well in Hong Kong. I just would have liked a little bit more of it. I thought the camera shots and the way that they chose to film it wasn't so quick and jittery. It was just enough where you were kind of in there. You could see what was going on. You felt the scope of everything. So I thought it was filmed beautifully to where you could really see things happening. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more to kind of like we say, dude, to kind of give those holy fuck moments and stuff. You know, there's definitely some moments in there that were awesome, but I would have loved to have seen like a little bit more, you know, with that fight sequence. And we get a definitive winner, dude. Like they gave it to us, man. Like
yeah,
Godzilla crushed Kong, dude. Like just put his ass down. And when they were just kind of like, I guess Godzilla really just laying down the smackdown, dude, roaring in his face, and Kong almost kind of accepts, you know, what his fate is, you know, just by roaring and just laying back. I thought that was a cool way to do it because it was almost a mutual respect, but like this dominance between species too. Like I thought it was handled very well.
Yeah, I was down with that.
because I mean, at the beginning of the film, they say Kong bows to no one, and I don't think he gave up or bowed to anybody. I think he was basically like Godzilla was like, okay, I'm gonna kill you now, and then
Right.
Kong was probably just like, all right, fucking bring it, dude. I'm not going down like a bitch.
Yep.
And then Godzilla basically is like, okay, like I respect you, you know. That's what it felt like that exchange was. So
Yep.
I thought that was cool. I like that Kong didn't like give up or bow down to anybody. And another little convenient thing, you know, and I'll get off of that topic, but how the fuck does Alexander Skarsgard know how to use the anti-gravity machine to be essentially just like a defibrillator and
I
like
know,
recharge Kong's heart? Like that to me was just like, wait, what, dude?
Yep.
Like now you know how to
Everything just
defibrillate
falling
a
in
giant
place.
Oh my god, that to me was like a little silly. I would have rather the little freaking girl like go up to Kong and like pet him on his nose and wake his ass up, and then he like looks at her and sees that like he has to protect her. Like I think that would have been more like, I don't know, heartfelt to me than him just getting like what if Alexander Skarsgard's character never did that? You know, what if he didn't think about that? Okay, then Kong's dead and the movie's over. You
Yeah, so
know,
was
it's just
Godzilla, dude, because Mechagodzilla was wrecking house.
yeah. So that was another thing that kind of threw me off. But overall, I thought it was fun. I mean, it definitely was entertaining. And I will say this, you know, this franchise I think is going to be best remembered by the visuals. I
Oh,
think
it's the visuals are gorgeous, dude. Yeah.
I I I think so many movie, you know, production companies can take a note from these films. I mean, if you look at Transformers or any of these other big budget films, they don't come anywhere close. You know, I think these films have really understood how to deal with these large characters and get that big experience on the screen. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't feel too crazy, no like crazy motion on the camera. I mean, some of those Transformers movies, you almost feel a little like nauseous because it's just like so much crazy shit going on at once.
Oh yeah.
They did such a good job just understanding how to make these monsters look big, mean, awesome, and have some killer action.
Totally, dude. And did the one thing, dude, that we I guess we'll end on and just kind of break down because the one holy shit moment that they nailed perfect in here, dude, is when Mechagodzilla's laying everything down, dude, and Godzilla realizes like the way that we're gonna do this is we gotta charge this axe back up, dude.
Dude.
And Godzilla charges the axe up, and they did it, dude. They gave Kong the kill shot, man. Like that was pretty cool. And like Godzilla had nothing to do with that final sequence, dude. Like Kong just dismantles Mechagodzilla on his own with the axe, dude. Chops his ass down and then rips his fucking head off, dude. And it was so cool.
You should have aimed for the heart.
Yeah, dude. Right?
Yeah, dude, that was sick, man. I thought that was so cool because, like, at that point of the fight, I was kind of just like, okay, how do you guys end this, dude? Because this Mecha Godzilla is beating the shit out of you guys.
Right.
And then you see Godzilla just look at that axe and he sees, like, I guess that's an old, you know, ancient Godzilla, you know, plate or whatever it was.
Right. Right.
So he charges that shit up with his atomic, you know, blast, and then just King Kong goes ape shit, just freaking tearing him apart with this thing, just chopping limbs off. And then I love that sequence where he just gets on his back and just rips that freaking head off, and you see all the oil and fire spilling out of it and shit. It's just so cool,
Oh yeah,
dude. It was a cool ending, dude, for sure.
dude. Yeah, that was well handled to slay the beast in there, dude. And my question, dude, my question with this too, where are all the other kaiju from the end of King of the Monsters? Like, none of them are to be seen. Like, where's Rodan? Like, he clearly bows to Godzilla. If Godzilla's the king of the monsters and he's controlling all these monsters, and because of Godzilla being this leader who is good for mankind and everybody stays chill and doesn't wreck cities because Godzilla's the leader, where are all these things to assist or help, dude? Or like, where the hell's Rodan? At least should have brought Rodan back into this, dude. That would have been a nice little surprise at the end, dude, where like Godzilla called on help and Rodan showed up to help take down Mechagodzilla or something, dude. That was a little disappointing.
I was asking the same question. I was just kind of like, okay, where's everyone else? Because I don't know. I just feel like if Godzilla knows what's going on, shouldn't all these others? Because didn't they
Right.
like even talk about in the beginning how there's this theory that all these things kind of like are on the same wavelength with each other?
Right.
Like that's how Kong knew where to go when he got into the center of the earth. Like they're all connected. So that kind of seemed weird that like you have this giant battle and Godzilla and Kong are both getting destroyed and no one's coming to help them. You know, it's like
Yep.
you guys are on your own. So that was interesting. Another thing that I thought was a little bit kind of weird is that in the first movies, the company Monarch or the organization, whatever you want to call it, was so big and so like overwhelming with like everything. In this movie, they're like nothing. They're nobodies. It's all Apex.
Yeah, all Apex,
And
dude.
and I was just kind of like thrown off by that. Like, okay, you have these little sequences with the dude, like the Monarch dude, I forgot his name, but like he really doesn't play much of a role in this film. He's kind of just like there, and Monarch is just like nothing, you know. But you've built these other three movies with Monarch being like a big deal, you know.
Yeah, well, that's why it happened with Kyle Chandler, dude. They were just like, well, you signed your contract.
That's his name, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we got to put you in this movie, but you're Monarch. But if you're not in the movie, we can't have Monarch. So, hey, Apex.
Yeah, yeah. That kind of threw me off. That like there was just not really much mention of Monarch. But then I don't know. Conveniently, the CEO, billionaire guy of Apex knows who the fuck his daughter is. Like,
Right. Yeah, just knows
like,
everybody.
oh, I know you. You're his daughter. You know,
Yeah,
like,
and this isn't weird that you're here with me right now in Hong Kong out of nowhere. So
right.
so weird, dude.
Yeah.
And then
can we
no post credit too, dude.
I was waiting for that, man. I was waiting. I thought they should do, because that was the thing with that kind of lackluster ending with Godzilla. I was hoping that maybe they would bring us a post-credit scene with Godzilla, maybe something that kind of brings us to the next movie that's going to happen.
Like,
you know,
Gigan, dude. They should have gave us Gigan at the end. Oh,
that would have been cool. That would have been cool. The last little convenient thing I wanted to bring up, because it actually, I laughed, like, and I was watching this movie by myself, so I don't usually laugh by myself at movies, but when they're trying to figure out a way to like essentially take down the system that's controlling Mechagodzilla.
yeah.
And this little fucking kid, dude, like, I don't know why he's got like a British accent, but whatever. He's like trying to hack this supercomputer. And it's just like, this kid's just a kid. Like, I don't even buy into that he could try it. Then number two, he can't do it. So he grabs the dude's booze and just pours the booze into this like little circuit board in front of him. And that's what takes down the whole goddamn system and makes Mechagodzilla malfunction a little bit.
Yeah, you know what, dude? Yeah, no, 100%, because they're how fortunate that when Mechagodzilla rips his hand through to take out the, director of Apex, he just happened to miss that circuit board right there, or else he would have knocked himself out, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's like, but it's like you have this just multi-billion-dollar company that's invested all this money into this Mechagodzilla creature, and you're leaving the fate of that creature's success in the hands of this little fucking like computer in this office,
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why that little computer system that's about 5 feet wide is the only thing that is controlling this big fucking monster, and you don't have some kind of, I don't know, cloud system built in. I don't know, it was just silly. It just seemed way too convenient that this kid can just pour a liquid on this thing and then it's done. We're good. Like,
Yeah.
You malfunctioned it. You gave King Kong and Godzilla an out, basically,
Yep, I'm with you, man. And I guess we'll see what happens with this too, because they definitely did not set this up. I mean, this could have easily been the conclusion to everything, dude. So
I would love to see more, man. I mean, dude, as much as we, had our gripes with this film, I am entertained, man. I will say that I'll go watch these films and be entertained.
Oh, if they keep spitting them out, I'll be there every single time, dude.
Give me as much Godzilla as you want to. Bring Kong back if you can find a good story for him. I don't care. I'll keep watching them. And I think that's good. I mean, I think Adam Weingart did a really good job with this. I wasn't expecting him to do so well just because he's always done just horror movies that are like kind of lower, in scope. So it was really interesting that he was able to pull off some of these really cool sequences.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. The camera work was great, man. The camera work was great. Looked pretty. Well shot film. The monster stuff is awesome. So I will buy it because I'll watch that 30 minutes and I'm good to go with that there, and we'll be happy. So that'll do it for the review today, guys. I know this is a little bit lengthy. If you made it to the end of this, God bless your souls. So hit that subscribe button, please, and click that bell for notifications. Leave some comments down below. We'd love to know your thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong. And if you enjoyed the video, give the video a thumbs up. We will see you all in the next one.